Hi, my name's Logan with SnowDiverters Northwest. We're based out of Newport, Washington here in the United States. All of our diverters are made in the US right here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the assembly and installation of our SDH-20 model. The H in that name stands for horizontal. This in front of me is another size that we have. This is the SDH-14, and I'm just using it to demonstrate what that horizontal is. When it's horizontal, we're referencing this top pitch here. So on a 8-12 pitch roof, if this is mounted, it's going to be covering over a vent that could go inside. This allows snow and ice to, instead of simply moving around, to move all the way over and keep that vent protected. So let me demonstrate and show you how this is assembled and installed. Firstly, your diverter will arrive in the box in 2 pieces. Those 2 pieces are then assembled together with the included nuts and bolts. In the box, you'll also find the instructions for assembly and installation. This should have all the information that you need and can be referenced throughout. Additionally, for the assembly, you'll need your own 7/16 wrench to tighten the nuts onto the bolts. To start the assembly, you want to take a bolt and insert it into one of the 6 holes that are pre-cut into this diverter. I find it easiest if I just lay this side down and then support only one side at a time. So as you install it into the pre-cut holes, the nut can then go on the corresponding bolt and get tightened down. And we'll just do this for all 6 of the holes. Once you have all of the carriage bolts installed into the 6 holes here and the nuts tightened down on the back side, we're ready to finish shaping the diverter. As you can see here, the diverter is pretty obtuse in its angle, and we can tighten that up simply by hand. You lay it on its back side and then bring these 2 pieces together. You'll get a much better shape that tends to work better on the roof. Again, here's the horizontal example, and your vent pipe will go under. This is assembled and ready for installation, so we can take that outside and do that now. Now that we have the snow diverter assembled, it's ready to be put onto the roof. You'll need some additional materials that are not included in the box, such as butyl sealant tape, galvanized roofing screws with a gasket, a pair of linesman's pliers. We like to use a permanent marker, and a drill will help you with the installation. Again, additional information on the instructions. The first step is going to be figuring out what tabs are going to need to be removed. You'll notice that there's sort of a serrated element to this diverter. This is a fantastic development that we've created, which allows you to remove what we call tabs. You'll remove those with the linesman's pliers, which we'll demonstrate in a second. And the importance and benefit of this is that once you're on the roof, you can take a look at these high ribs here. Here we have 7/8 inch high ribs, and so we'll only need to remove the lower section of this tab, which is about 1 inch high. This allows the diverter to sit flush to the roof without you having to hand cut, grind, etc. while you're on the roof. Simply take it to the roof and position it over your vent pipe. And you can see here now a better example of how it fits over the vent pipe. For reference, this vent pipe is about 6 to 10 inches high, depending front to back, and 3-inch diameter. You're going to want it to sit maybe a couple of inches inside of the edge here of the diverter, and just hold it up. Then we'll take the permanent marker and go ahead and mark the tabs here that are going to need to be removed in order for it to sit flush against the roof and not be in contact with those high ribs. Now that we have the tabs marked, which are going to need to be removed in order to clear these high ribs, we can take the linesman's pliers and simply pop them out. Just a quick bend back and forth will allow that metal that's holding them to break loose, and you'll just want to do that for all of the required tabs to be removed. Another recommendation is to only remove the minimal amount required, because this is also what's holding it to the roof There's plenty here to add the roofing screws later, which is going to give us a nice secure connection, but don't remove more than necessary. For us on this roof, it took about 4. That's going to depend on the angle, where the ribs fall, etc. And again, the size of your vent. Now that we have the 4 removed on this side, we'll head over to the other side where we've marked 4 other ones. And they're going to be slightly different just because this is not perfectly centered within the ribs. We'll give you a bit more of a close-up here. For this second side, we can see that we've marked where the rib needs to be running through, and so we know which tabs to remove. You can see that there's, again, perforation here. Simply take the tab and fold it back and forth. It does take a bit of effort, but it's much easier than having to cut it on the roof. The next step that we recommend is to apply some butyl tape. You can find this at any local hardware store. We like to pre-cut it so that it's easier to apply, and it should self-adhesive down to the remaining tabs. Again, these remaining tabs are now your anchor points. They're going to be nice and strong. You are just going to be running roofing screws through them though, and that's why this butyl tape is helpful in making sure that you're getting a good seal next to your roof. So go ahead and put that on any of the remaining tabs so that you're going to have that nice seal. Now that we have that butyl tape installed on all of the remaining tab surfaces, it's ready to go back onto the roof. As a reminder, since we're working with a model, that's why we're working on the ground, but typically this is easiest done on the roof, which is the advantage, again, of those tabs that just snap out. You never have to go back down to the ground. So just bring all your materials up with you and you can do it right there. So as we go to the roof, we already have the tabs removed where they need to be removed. And this is just the last bit of the final installation here. Back where you'd originally marked it up, and then you can take your roofing screws and just run them directly through that butyl tape, through the remaining tabs, and suck it down firmly to the roof. We recommend filling all the holes so that you have the most secure attachment as possible, which is going to be the best for preventing damage to this vent, which of course is what we're trying to do. Now this snow diverter is fully installed once all of these holes have been filled with roofing screws, and now we can see really the benefit of this horizontal here. The pipe inside the vent is fully protected. Ice and snow will move around, and even if it does pile up and start to move over, it'll just move off the end and down the roof, fully protected, no issues there. Sturdy, mounted, strong, durable. SnowDiverters Northwest.